Hello, everyone. It's Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo here for another episode of what people are telling me to call Bensday. Well, I guess that's what we'll call it. Other people are saying call it exclusive interview with CIG and then Ben's 3 million mile long title. But instead, we'll just call it 5 for Ben Lesnick and we'll put whatever title was number one this week. Ben, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me again.
Thank you for having me. I like Bensday a lot. I
Yeah.
keep pitching something here called Ben for the Chairman. I don't know what it is yet, but I want to use it somewhere.
Okay. Well, we could call it Ben's Day, but then again, with Chris going away and 10 for the chairman not really happening the way it's supposed to, it may happen, it may not happen. This might be a place for people to get some of their questions answered until you guys reveal what's going to go on as Chris is gone.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, we're going to try to get Chris when we can. He's going to be pretty busy directing, but we will have, we're going to have designers, writers,
Travis?
producers. Yeah, Travis is.
Yeah, good. Because Travis is someone I want to nab to have on the show after talking to Darian Vorlick last week. Excellent interview, people. You got to go out there and watch it. Darian was a amazing interview, and he talks about his time at Blizzard, and he's the producer of Arena Commander. So what we're playing right now is what he's actually taking, delivering to us. Not him, but watch the video. You'll learn how much a producer or how little a producer actually does.
Depends on the producer.
Yeah, I mean, when I asked them the question, they said, "Yeah, I do nothing. You put a bunch of us in the room, and nothing will get done. But we're catalysts. Everything gets done because we're there." So I'm going to ask you a very quick question. I know that this one has already been answered, but somebody said to ask it again because they started reading something in chat, and there might have been something said differently from Ben. Is there any discussion at this point on variants of the Vanguard?
Yes, there is a Vanguard variant pitch out there internally.
Okay, awesome. So that is what they read then.
Yes, I think we have hinted at it to some degree in the text post. I think we mentioned it can equip torpedoes with the proper mount.
Right.
Again, it's one we're looking at more modular, so the variants are more you switch out a combat package rather than control ship. But that's TB announced.
Okay. All right. That was from Renegade Shank, who sends in questions every now and then. The second part of that question is, because there's such modularity today, are the variants going to be something that you're going to set, or is somebody going to be able to say, "Oh, I want this on the ship and that on the ship" when it goes for sale? Like, I don't believe this is going to be a ship that's sold like the Hornet is today. I think it's going to be sold more like the Super Hornet, correct?
Yeah, it's more the latter. Certainly, we think of like a World War II aircraft that might have you might have its particular package to act as a night fighter, and then you put the bomb racks on, and it's a medium bomber. So,
all right, awesome. So we're going back to that B-25, A-26 hybrid with the P-38 in there. That's good. Then the second piece of that is now another ship is now flyable on the PTU, and that's the Gladiator. What are the plans for that? Could you explain to us any plans for sale of that at this particular point? It's only been offered 2 or 3 times because it's been first a concept ship and now a limited ship. Is that something that we're going to see more often, or is that going to be as limited as the Super Hornet?
I think we're going to keep it a fairly limited ship. I think we'll probably do that with military ships in general, because Gladiator is more of a pure military bomber. We are going to bring it and the Super Hornet back once. What are we calling it now? Alpha 111. Once Alpha 111 drops,
awesome.
we'll have we'll make them available for the shore and also for rental and wreck.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And also offering those ships right around Veterans Day for the military heroes in all the nations around the world. That's a good time to do it also. So I like how you did the military ships 2 years ago, I think it was, for the original week-long sale.
Right, yeah. People say stuff like that. Oh, you should do this to honor it. I feel like we're just so far apart from the actual military. Those guys are heroes. We're making spaceships.
But people bought the $20 F7A upgrade because you were giving it to a charity at the time, and that was a cool thing. So I like when you do that. So, we haven't had our cameo by James Pugh yet. That's kind of weird. The second one is
his desk moved. It's over here now. So of course he's not here. It's now that he actually works 2 feet from me. He's not at his desk.
that makes sense. All right, so Pappy Boyington. Hey, how are you, Jared? Just say hey.
Hey.
Hey, everybody. There's Disco Lando looking in on us right now.
He's editing tomorrow's ATV as we speak.
Awesome. Pappy Boyington wants to know about ships that get we've had a lot of ships that just get disabled in flight at this point, playing in our co-op banduals that we have. And he's wondering if there'll be a way that any ship could tow another ship back, or do you have to get a dedicated ship to retrieve and salvage and bring the ship that's disabled back?
But it doesn't have to necessarily be a dedicated ship. It'll be, a ship with a tractor beam. We'll have to have sufficient mass. I'm not a physicist, so I can't say what can pull another ship. But it's never going to be, you have to buy. You want to do this? You have to buy the special ship for it. No, everybody will have that ability to some degree. I don't know if Hornet can pull a beamer or something like that, or reclaimer or something like that, but.
Well, destroyer. When I was in the Navy, I was on a helicopter carrier, the USS Guadalcanal, and the screw.
One of the tour of the Guadalcanal once.
Oh, you did? Hey James, and please, tell him I want it. So one of our screws fell off, and we got towed back by a destroyer, and we were quite a bit bigger than that ship was. So I understand what you're saying. As long as there's enough thrust, something should be able to tow something.
Yeah, it'll all be John Griffith and all the physics stuff. It's Chris Roberts' physics stuff.
Yeah, and that's when we go to Darian Vorlik, he said. He's like the astrophysicist that everybody comes to. Marcus wants to know, and this is about Squadron 42, and this is the one that we can ask. What's the difference between episodes, chapters, and missions? And you just explained this the other day. Could you explain it again? That all changed, right?
Yeah, I was just posting about this to the forums. I don't know what the final terminology will be. Right now we're thinking, so Squadron 42, Episode 1 is what we've been planning all along. It's the 50 to 70 mission campaign, all that stuff.
Right.
Episode 2 is what we used to call Behind Enemy Lines. The original plan was that would be a secret mission style. I reference Wing Commander a lot. I'm sorry.
Right.
It was a Wing Commander secret mission style add-on pack, which, if back in the day, they would do add-on packs. They would take all the original assets and they would say, okay, we'll reuse them a little bit. We'll sell it for $30, and it was 16 more missions. That was our thought as a stretch goal. It was, okay, everybody gets this. We'll do a bunch of extra missions, and it'll be a fun little mini campaign. Instead, it's evolved into that's our second game. So Squadron 42, we're saying Episode 1 right now. It'll actually have some subtitle at some point. Squadron 42, Battle for Tomorrow. That's not what it's called, but I'm...
don't write that down, people.
Yeah, that's not what it's called. I'm trying to make up a Hollywood-y name. And then the next one will be Squadron 42, Behind Enemy Lines. And then looking further forward, Squadron 42, whatever the third one is.
All right. So just to clarify, the original idea was to release the first game in episodes, and then at the end of it, you would have a 50 episode, a 50 mission game with whatever episodes it took. Now
that was something we thought about, and I think it pretty much decided not to do.
Okay.
If you look at Wing Commander, it divides. What typical campaign is: you have the campaign, that's the whole game.
Right.
Then you have a series that's 3 to 5 missions that take place in the same place. They're narratively connected.
Right.
And they determine which series you go to next. So you win Series A, lose Series A, you got to go to Series B or Series C. So in our terminology here, a series is a chapter. So Squadron 42, I don't know how many chapters Squadron 42 has, but it has a bunch. And each one consists of several missions.
But the whole game, so what we're getting in December is going to be the whole kit and caboodle for the first game.
That's the plan, yeah.
So, and just folks, that is more than what we were promised. So that's better. That's a great deal better than what we expected.
Well, that one should be pretty much what we promised. I don't want to blow our own horns there. That we're giving you the game we promised.
All right.
And some people are getting more of a game because some of our early backers have the mission disc, which is now a full game. So some people get two single player games.
That's me. That's me. I like it. All right. So, And speaking of Darian, his Facebook message just took over my screen over here. So the next question was going to be simply, go away, everyone. If and this is another one going back to Renegade Shank. If we come across a capital ship that can be salvaged, but we are a single seater, this goes back to what we were talking about, which would be they have to go and call somebody in the organization, or put out a call to somebody to come and get it. Right?
Yeah, I would say so.
All right. So Bad Monkey asks, are there plans for CIG to offer any other kinds of ship packages? The current set of packages cater to establishing a small battle fleet, but neglect those that wish an all-in-one package that support jack-of-all-trades, trader-focused players and or explorers. Like a package that would have, like, say, an Aurora LX, a Beta, a Freelancer MIS, a 315P, those type of things.
I think we tend to shy away from lower packages that have multiple ships just because we kind of want you to have, we're selling fantasy of your ship rather than your fleet. And I love that backers are building up their own fleets and doing all sorts of crazy things. But I think best to start one game with one ship in terms of offering packages. Then it gets too confusing for everybody coming in. Like, oh, do I want? More packages can be a liability to some degree.
Yeah, it's what I was going to ask in relationship to that question is there's a lot of people that are saying, do you really need this many ships? So what I ask you is, there's such a wide variety of different ships. Why would somebody have a number of ships in their hangar instead of just one ship that they would like to fly?
Well, it goes down to the whole multi-role thing. The different ships for different jobs. Every ship can move towards a certain job within the limits of its own abilities, but not every ship is going to be the best. So there's never going to be a situation where like a Hull C is going to be a good dogfighter. It'll have guns, it'll defend itself, but what it's really good at is shipping goods. I actually had a chat just this afternoon on chat roll. Somebody was asking, why doesn't the Retaliator have a kitchen or restrooms? Like, well, it's a bomber. It uses as much space as it can for munitions. That's what you're going for there. Then I think people are finally starting to see what the point of the luxury ships are. The Constellation Phoenix, it has all these fancy things, and it doesn't have a cargo load of munitions. Versus the Retaliator that takes, it's essentially the same ship, similar price, but it takes it in a different direction. So.
Okay. I like that because I look at it from a different perspective. It's like we're going to need to make money in the game. And how do you know, like I don't always want to run bounty hunter missions and I don't always want to run escort missions. Maybe I want to run a snatch and grab. I think that's what you call it, snatch and grab. Maybe I want to run go out there and destroy these Vandal or these pirates in an area. So having a number of different ships to me just means that you have a toolbox that has the right tool for the right job. You don't have to do that. You can get these ships when the game goes live. But you might find that having a number of ships, like some people, we've met people with hundreds of ships. We've met people with 3 ships, Yeah,
I find that a lot of people with hundreds of ships, they're here to support the game more than they are anything else. Some of them have great ideas for corporations that will use all these ships. But it's like RPG characters. You roll your stats, and you have a particular number that I'm going to add to my thievery, I'm going to add to my sneak, I'm going to add to my charisma, whatever. But there's never going to be a situation like, I'm 100 in every single stat. So your ship is your base. So maybe you'll want a thief, you'll want a cleric, you'll want a mage, and so on.
And that was a perfect analogy. I look at my ships as alts, and I'm an altaholic in my MMOs, so that makes sense to me. And hopefully that makes sense to a lot of you other people. Unless you're just playing flight sims and space sims all your life, then you got to go out and play an MMO. There's one person that has a question about the controller, and I know that you can't give us any major details. Do you have a time span when we might find out about it?
Oh, the license one?
Yeah.
No, it's a Sandy question.
It's hung up in legal. Last I asked Sandy, that I remember. So we're not going to hear anything until that gets out of legal. So that's how we'll answer that question. And I'll throw that question, folks, to Sandy when I catch her.
Honestly, that's going to be one of those questions that's going to be answered by our partner rather than us. We would love to tell everybody exactly what we're doing all the time, But with a deal like that, it's typically
That
their timeline.
Hey, that's amazing. That puts it into perspective, okay, folks? Because
It's never that we want to keep secret who we're working with or what we're doing. It's the reality of a business deal is that an X joystick company, they get to make the product announcement.
right. All right, so now this comes from me saying last week when we talked about me melting the Gladiator, now I have to get it back. So we left that question really quick, and it was answered in the comment section over there. But I want to have your position on when somebody melts a ship, what the position is of CIG for unmelting that ship later on down the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
The official position is no, we don't do it. CS, one of our rules is be as kind as you possibly can. So we will get people to say, oh, I really regret this decision. Can you please help me? And we help them as much as we possibly can. Sometimes this is overwhelmed. We can't do it. Sometimes, we try to help whenever we can. There are a lot of people who see that and they take advantage of it. And you get, I've seen accounts where it's 5 requests a day. And
right.
We track all that and we say, okay, if once we'll always try to help you. More than that, it'll vary.
Right, and there is an end date on that stuff. And I remember Chris saying in a 10 for the chairman that when the game goes live, that's over, right?
No, we won't.
Okay.
It'll be a different system by then.
Okay, so folks, I'm sorry to bring that one up. That's my fault. It was the only time, and I'm sure CS will tell you this, it's the only time I've ever done it. I don't believe in doing it. I made a mistake. I didn't realize the Gladiator was going to be flying that soon. And I need one, and I need it to do my show. All right, so do you have any, and this is going to be the last question that they ask, and I'm going to go back and ask a question about the Gladiator after this. So the last question for them is from Albuterol13, and he wants to know if you have a timeline. He's asking for information, but I'll ask timeline instead on the MIC Reliant. I've been getting a lot of comments and questions about asking you that, and I don't because the timeline to me is whatever it's going to be. But at this point, I know that there's been a concept artist assigned to it. So do you have any timeline for that, like months, weeks?
Which ship was it?
The Reliant.
Oh, I can't give a timeline, but we're getting our back already, and it's looking cool.
Yeah. It seemed to me that the Vanguard went from concept to concept shell probably in about 90 days.
I would say so. That'll vary depending on the size of the ship and the role. I mean, the Reliant is going to be a big deal just because it's what new players are going to be starting the game with.
Yeah.
So we don't know. It's going to go right into the game, and it has to go right into the sales flow too. If you click on Fly Now, you get to choose between the 2 starters, and our ideal is you choose 3. So it's going to be a very visible ship, and part of what comes with that is that it's going to get a lot of revisions to get it just right before we show it off.
Awesome. So that tells you no timeline. Price point, though, right around the same as the Aurora and Mustang?
Yeah, it'll be I would say exactly the same for the base model.
All right, so $35, I think, for the base Alpha?
I think so. It's $45 for the base package.
Yeah, so that's what you're looking at, folks. Now, my question is, in the lore for the Gladiator, they talk about its modularity and it being the most modular ship. Has that been dropped, or is that something that's still going to be the case, that it's a very modular design?
It will be very modular. I don't think it'll be the most modular ship anymore.
Yeah.
We have some significantly more modular ships now, but you'll have a lot to swap out on the Gladiator.
All right. Last question. I'm coming up on 2,500 users, and I want to know if you donate, and I could cut this out. I'd like to know if you donate a ship for 2,500 viewers.
Of course.
Can we have a ship that starts with a V?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
That's awesome. Okay, that's it. That was what people were saying they wanted, and obviously it's an incredible ship, so that's great. Thanks, Ben. Next week you have the same schedule?
I hope so. Actually, I'm off end of next week. I'm going to do Star Wars Celebration. If anybody out there is...
Where are you going?
It's the big Star Wars convention in Anaheim.
Oh, wow.
So if anybody out there wants to come say hi, please do.
And you saw they re-released all the Star Wars movies on Disney, Amazon, Apple's iTunes. Yeah.
Yep.
Wonderful. All right, Ben, well, thank you very much. Say goodbye if you want.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and with that said, you all be safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon.